I gave up half my tips that day, 5 crumpled dollars I'd worked hard for, just to buy a stranger a cup of coffee. What I didn't know was that cup would end up exposing a century-old lie and change my life forever. It started like any other shift. Me, apron on, wiping down tables at the corner cafe in Brookdale. Place wasn't special, just the kind of joint folks ran into before work. But the manager? Kyle Reed. He had this way of making people feel small, like he ran a 5-star hotel instead of a coffee shop, with a flickering sign and broken stool by the window. That morning, an old man walked in, coat torn at the edges, hands shaking, eyes scanning the room like he didn't know whether to stay or run. He got to the counter, reached into his pockets, and nothing. "I swear I brought it," he said, voice cracking. "Just wanted a coffee to warm up before heading home." Kyle didn't even blink. "No money, no service," he snapped. "Try the shelter on 3rd. They do free soup." And the whole room just froze. A couple of guys in suits snickered in the corner like it was some sort of show. I stood there, watching him tremble, watching everyone look away, and I remembered my grandma, confused, sick, getting tossed out of a store once like she didn't belong. Something in me snapped. I walked up to the counter, slid a $5 bill over, and said, "I'll cover his coffee." Kyle shot me this glare like I'd just set the place on fire. "Maya, stay out of this," he hissed. But I didn't move. "If anyone should be embarrassed here," I said, "it's not him." He grumbled, took the money, and served the coffee like it was poison. The old man, he looked at me with eyes full of surprise, maybe a little pain, too. "Didn't expect kindness today," he whispered. I just smiled and said, "You don't wait for kindness. You give it." Thought that was the end of it. Turns out, it was just the start. Next morning, Kyle called me into his office. Same phony corporate smile he used every time someone got fired. "This is a business," he said, "not a charity." He tossed a warning slip on the desk. One more step out of line, and I was gone. That job was the only thing keeping rent paid, and my mom's meds coming in. So yeah, I signed it. But something shifted inside me. Not fear, just awareness. Later, in the locker room, I found an envelope tucked into my things. No name, just a $100 bill, and a note that read, "Thank you for your kindness. The world needs more people like you." I knew that was no random thank you. Then came the man in the suit. A few days later, he walked in. Clean shave, expensive watch, perfect posture. But the eyes, same ones I saw in the old man. He looked different, but I knew he was him. Kyle rushed over, laying it on thick. "Can I interest you in our special reserve roast?" But the man just smiled. "Is the young woman who helped the elderly gentleman working today?" Kyle hesitated. "I'd like her to serve me," the man added. So Kyle called me over. "Maya, he's asking for you." The man reached out his hand. "Edward Langston," he said. My heart nearly stopped. Langston, the billionaire philanthropist who secretly tests people by showing up in disguise, to see who treats him like a human when they think he's got nothing. "I'd like to talk," he said, handing me a gold card. "It's not a job offer. It's something bigger." That night, I opened the envelope he sent. Inside were old photographs, black and white shots of the cafe. But it wasn't called Reed Coffee. It was Johnson's Cafe. my last name, my great-grandfather, standing tall in front of the place with pride in his eyes. And then came the bombshell. Records showing the cafe had been ours. Stolen in 1932, when my great-grandfather got sick. Forged documents, fake signatures. It had never been sold, just taken. I didn't know whether to cry or scream, but I knew one thing: I wasn't staying quiet. With Edward backing me, we gathered everything: emails, legal proof, witness statements, even one from Kyle himself, an old message he'd sent to corporate saying, "Recommend, destroy, and deny if Johnson's name ever comes up." Then we returned to the cafe. This time, I wasn't the girl cleaning tables. I stood in the middle of that place, in front of the customers, cameras, Kyle, and his smug father, Richard Reed. And I told the story. The photos rolled behind me on a projector. The truth laid bare. Our cafe, stolen, buried, and whitewashed. You could feel the air shift. Kyle's face drained of color. Richard tried to interrupt, but it was too late. Edward brought in news crews and even the CEO of the hospitality group that now owned the brand. The CEO stepped forward and said, "We're launching a full investigation into historic property theft and racial discrimination." By the end of the month, the company had settled. The cafe returned to the Johnson family. We restored the old sign, reopened as Johnson Community Cafe, offered training to local youth, hired back folks who had been pushed out, gave the place heart again. And me? I wasn't just some waitress anymore. I was a co-founder, a voice, a reminder that doing the right thing when no one's looking can shatter generations of silence. A while later, at our grand opening, I saw Richard Reed in the crowd. Part of the legal deal made him attend the exhibition wall we'd created, chronicling everything from our founding to the theft. I walked up to him. "Do you know why I didn't sue you criminally?" I asked. He couldn't look me in the eye. "Because this wasn't about revenge," I said. "It was about truth. And the thing about truth, it always finds a way back." Now here's the thing. This whole storm started over a cup of coffee. $5 I didn't really have to spare. But in that moment, I chose to see someone's humanity instead of their coat or empty pockets. So now I want to ask you, what would you have done? Would you have stepped in or looked away like everyone else? And do you think stories like this still happen today? Or are they too rare to believe? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me if you've ever stood up when it wasn't easy, or if someone's kindness once changed your life. Let's talk about what real justice looks like, and how sometimes the smallest acts are the ones that shake the ground.